Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Yes, so if you're a new subscriber, thank you very much for coming to watch our video, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you for your consistency. Yes, so in today's video we actually have something very sensitive to talk about.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of the video, if I'm about to edit this video, probably I'm going to put like a warning, because there are some images that you might see that might actually upset your eye. Yes. All right, so guys, we if you're regular on this channel, you know that we are couple, right?
We are married.
Yes, so we have something to talk about. We have our journey, our experience to share with you guys. We're going to be sharing this experience not because of any other thing other than for you guys to learn, and also know that when you have this kind of experience, these are the things you may or may not do. We just want to share our experience and put out our journey out there so far. Yes, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about evacuation journey, pregnancy, abortion, evacuation.
Who did abortion?
Yes, now it's not abortion. Legal abortion.
Holy abortion.
Legal abortion. Chinese holy does like
No, holy now. I never do abortion.
so I don't even know where to start from. I
Start from somewhere near.
I said when I'm comfortable enough. So guys, I said when I feel comfortable, I'm going to do this video. So now I think I'm comfortable to do this video. So guys, sometime like just recently.
Recently, it was not last year.
Last year, babe. Which one is last year? When did we get married?
I think that make me like say it's far now, but
It's not far.
it's okay.
It's just recent. So recently, guys, I actually got pregnant, of course, as a married woman.
By who?
Babe, it's not funny. This is an emotional moment for me.
I know, that's why I don't want to make it like feel so super emotional, because if you make it feel like that, you start tearing. You want to tear?
I will not tear. Tear.
2,000 years later.
So guys, recently I actually took in. And guess what? The child was actually aborted.
Oh.
What a sorrowful story. So guys, I'm just going to tell the story in a nutshell.
Okay.
So I took in, I was happy. I actually called most of my friends.
Right.
I was like, wow, I'm pregnant, a lot of things. I was just so happy and excited. So along the line, the pregnancy started dropping. What I mean by dropping, like most times I'll just wake up and see small blood, I'll just see a little blood stain. I thought it was normal. I contacted the doctor that I know, or I used to know. Then the doctor told me that it was actually what did they call it? What's the name of this thing?
Spotting.
Not spotting now.
Implantation bleeding.
Thank you. The doctor said it was implantation bleeding, that I should not worry about it. So that's how I relaxed. After a while, like let's say every 3 days, I'll just see some spotting. They said it. I was not convincing myself. Okay, it's normal. Since it's not big, it's actually implantation bleeding and all those things. So after a month, I was still doing my normal, activities, eating my normal meal. After a month to, after 3 months, right? It's actually going to be when I have to go to the hospital, to check on the child and all those things. After a month or more, I went to the hospital. The sonographer, that's what they call it. The sonographer actually told me that, yes.
I don't know, man.
If a sonographer I don't know, actually told us that there's no fetal pole, that the fetal pole is not found.
That pole lost.
So I'm going to be putting lot of pictures on this list. I'm going to be editing it. That there was no fetal pole. Ha. I was like, hey, which one is there's no fetal pole? After like a whole 3 months. So this was actually how the scan looked like.
Look at this one.
Yes, after 3 months. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll just like a little dot. Just a little, very little dot.
Mm,
Yeah. So just like a very little dot. I was actually very worried. I was so sad. I prayed. I prefer there's no way I did not pray. I prayed and prayed and prayed. I was like, God, please. Which one is there's no fetal pole again? What am I going to do? You know. So I was placed on drugs. That's the fasting. I was actually taking the fasting. The man told me like I should come back in the next 2 weeks. Man, that 2 weeks was like the longest 2 weeks of my entire life. Hey, some most nights I would just cry and my husband would be like, don't cry, it's going to be fine. I was like, oh my, I'm tired of waiting. When is the 2 weeks coming? Let me go and check on my child. You know now, all those things. After 2 weeks again, we still went back to another is it sonographer. They still found nothing. Like there's actually sign of a child, but then there's no like
no growth.
yes, the fetus be whatsoever is not viable. It's just stagnant, it's not moving. I was so sad. Guys, I did a lot of series of scans. If I start showing you all here, because I will
Plenty.
also go to another place to find out. After 2 weeks, I'll go to a different place to find out. I have a lot of scan reports here. So after all said and done, the last scan that we actually went for, the sonographer actually advised us to abort the child, that this child is not going to grow. That even if we force this child to grow, it might actually have defects, deformation of whatsoever.
I'll probably dead.
Probably might not be dead because they will actually be looking at it through the scan. Even if the child actually survives, now that's we have a viable
Mm.
something. It might actually not have one hand,
Oh, fair.
or have one leg, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Ha, Omo, I cried that day. I was so devastated. I cried so much. I didn't even know what to do. But then I had a friend who actually encouraged me, everything is going to be fine and all those things. So fast forward to when I actually went to a different hospital, that's another big hospital, to actually check on the child and then proceed to the abortion process. We had two different types of abortion. I was told to that I can either abort it with drugs
Oh,
or abort the baby through evacuation.
your question, yeah.
So I thought about the two. If the sonographer also advised us to use drugs, because they said if you want to evacuate your child, that's if you want to do evacuation actually, that most times the disadvantage they will actually injure your womb. You'll get an injury on your womb and all those things. So I was actually scared. So I was like, okay, let me try the drugs. Let me do the medical abortion. Right? That's what it's called. So I went to a very good hospital that people actually referred me to. When I went there, I also asked the man for advice. Is it evacuation that would be better, or I should abort it to drugs? So the man actually checked the centimeter of the child and was like, okay, this is not so much. You can actually, drugs can actually go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the man administered the drug. So, guys, I'm actually going to finish the previous gist without my husband here because he actually left quickly to do something. So still the process, I want to tell you guys a story exactly the way it happened. So guys, I actually went to the hospital to abort the pregnancy with medicine. So gave us the doctor gave us the medicine. I've forgotten the name of the medicine. The doctor kept it under my tongue and said I should be swallowing the spit, little by little. So I asked, and the hospital is very far from my house. So I asked the doctor, I was like, Doctor, my house is very far. Are you sure that this drug is not going to take effect immediately? So the doctor was like, no, that the drug is not going to take effect immediately, that the drug will actually stay till like 2 hours, 2 hours to be able to take effect and all those things. But something kept talking to me. My mind, I was like, Nelly, don't start swallowing this drug. It might actually, I know my body. It's good for you to know your body. Drugs don't drugs quickly take effect on me. That's what I'll just say. So the drug was under my tongue. If I remember, guys, I'll write the name of the drug on the description box below because I can't remember it right now. So I kept the drug under my tongue. Then we started going home. So as the car drove us closer to my house, I was like, okay, not so close, but I was like, okay, I'm actually a bit close. Let me start swallowing the spit little by little, just as the doctor advised. So I started swallowing the spit little by little. Immediately I swallowed the first one, swallowed the second one. I had a very heavy headache, just like beam on my head. I was like, man, this is it. It has started. Then we were supposed to stop by, to buy fruits and all those things. I was hurrying my husband. I was rushing him. I was like, babe, please hurry. I need to get home. Like I feel so bad, right? I feel somehow. My husband was like, no problem. That I should endure. I should endure. We're almost home. Finally, we got home. Immediately, I pulled my clothes, like my undies. I noticed that I already had a little blood stain. I was like, okay, maybe the process has actually begun. In less than an hour, I started having cramps. I wouldn't call these cramps because I know how cramps are. The doctor actually told me that because I asked the doctor, how am I supposed to feel when I take this drug? The doctor said I'm going to have serious cramps. I'm going to have painful cramps. I asked him how. He said the cramps would actually feel like a painful menstruation cramp. I was like, well, there's no amount of painful menstruation that I will not bear. You get, but guys, trust me, this is more than cramps. When I browse about this drug, I actually noticed that the effect of this drug is that it's going to contract your uterus and then make you bleed. You be on that contraction and then you bleed out everything. Guys, so at that point, I was like, when I said feeling pains, I was like, no, this is not what the doctor told me. Doctor said I'm going to have cramp, but this is more than cramps, man. That's how I started feeling pain. It kept on increasing. The contraction kept on increasing until at some point I could not bear the pain again. Huh? I started crying. I was in tears. I was in agony. Sheesh. At that moment, blood started rushing through my everywhere, like my private parts, heavy blood like this. I was in this room. I didn't go to the I didn't go to the toilet or bathroom. I was here. We had a big bath to control the blood. We had bought maternity pad because the doctor said we should actually get maternity pad. We bought everything that was required of us. I started bleeding. I bled so much. The contraction was so much, guys. Let me know. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It is very painful. Abortion is very painful. Yee! Abortion is very, very painful. This is my first time of experiencing something like this. It's really very, very painful. I don't know, maybe people have different type of body, but you see my own body, that abortion was painful. So I endured the contraction, the blood was just flowing. At some point, I felt like I was losing so much blood. So I was shaking, shaking. I could not, I like, I was having, I seen it was like a blurry vision for me. So thank God I had my husband and my sister. So they held me because I could not stand. If they had left me, I would have fallen down. So I just stood, opened my two legs. Blood were just pouring, pouring. At some point, I was shaking, shaking. According to my husband, they could not hear what I was saying again. Me, I was already almost gone safe because I could not hear them again. Their voices started becoming so faint. I could not really hear them. So my husband and my sister, they started forcing fruits inside my mouth, watermelon. They were forcing it in my mouth so that I can just get a little strength. Hmm. After the hustle, I was able to swallow a few fruits. Then I think I got better again. I started hearing them clearly. After the whole process, like let's say blood, until at some point the drug stopped contract, like my uterus stopped contracting, but I was still bleeding, but it was that it was no longer as painful as it was earlier. So the whole pain started reducing. I was now able to lie down. In fact, I used the trampoline or whatsoever to cover the bed, of course, before I stay in the bed. I actually laid down. I was still feeling a little pain. The pains were still there, but not as serious as before. In fact, my beloved brothers and sisters, I thought I would not see the light of the next day. Hey, my husband was just saying, oh, I even forgot. My husband was saying, please don't leave me. I even pitied my husband. My husband was just like, please don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't die. Don't leave me. So, those words were just very, very piercing. Jesus. Because I was even acting like I was going to die that day. My mother was just like, please don't die, don't leave me. If you leave me, I don't have any other body. I don't have any other person. Don't leave me, don't leave me. Me self, waiting the man they talk self I know they even hear am again self. In fact, I was like, I beg, if this is how it's going to be, let it be because I'm tired. I almost gave up. I'm very tired. In the morning when I woke up, I was like, Jesus, I'm alive. Oh, I tapped my husband, so I'm alive today. My husband said before, Uncle. I said, I thought yesterday was going to be the end of me, oh. But as God may have it, I survived it. Okay, oh, I've actually survived the first one. I kept on bleeding. I kept on using pad, maternity pad. I don't go anywhere. I'm just at home because I'm always bleeding. So where am I going to go? So I preferred staying at home. It was only on Sunday that I managed to go to church. I was bleeding and I went to church, but I didn't use maternity pad at that moment. I actually now use normal pad, which I shouldn't use because that one will just get filled up immediately. So I actually I was still bleeding for up to 1 week. I was bleeding. If you see my color, I was yellow. Fat, not even yellow. You see this? You know ground tayo color that they already used to fry akara. That was exactly how my color was then. If you look at me, you just know that. If you know me before, you just be like, oh, there's something wrong with this lady. But I managed to go to church. I didn't stay long in church. I just prayed and I came back home. I remember in the hospital, we were asked to come back after 1 week for a checkup to be sure that everything has actually flushed out. So after 1 week, I was still bleeding, though, but I carried myself. I and my husband, that has been my husband was so supportive. So we went back to the hospital. The doctor said we have to go for scan. They have a scan there, scan unit there. We actually checked the scan immediately because most times when a sonographer is actually checking my stomach, I look at their facial expression. You know that kind of feeling. I don't know if you guys know that feeling when a sonographer will be checking your womb or checking your stomach, and then you'll be looking at their facial expression when they do like this. You follow them and do like this, like to know, you will not be thinking how what is actually wrong. Or this one that this sonographer is actually keeping her face like this. What is wrong? When the sonographer smiles, you smile. When guy, it was just a range of emotions. So the sonographer was like, the sonographer was checking my womb. The first question she asked me was, "Are you bleeding?" I said yes. He said, she now did like, everything has not gone out, so this baby is not really out. I was like, oh God, what does this baby want from me again? Stay, you don't want to stay. Oh yeah, go now. You don't want to kukuma go, everything. So the sonographer now wrote on the scan report. He said evacuation is advised. Guys, just hold on. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can find that particular report. I think I left it in a different hospital, in my file in a different hospital. But then I don't know if I can find it. I'm not sure. No, that scan report is not here. But I will see if I find it. I'll put it on this description. So it said evacuation is advised. So I went back. I didn't want to do the evacuation, and before I went back to the hospital for checkup, I actually called another doctor from a different hospital. The doctor asked me the drug that they gave me. I told the doctor. Doctor said that I was supposed to drink another medicine first before taking the other one I took after 24 hours. So that's the process. So because I didn't drink that first one, that's probably why I was still bleeding even after 1 week. So because of what that doctor said to me, I didn't feel comfortable any longer to proceed the evacuation process in that same hospital that gave me the drugs for abortion. So I told my husband there and then, okay, since the sonographer says evacuation is advised, I'm not doing my evacuation in this hospital. And I've also heard from different people that evacuation is very painful. So I didn't want to proceed with evacuation in that particular hospital. I went to a private hospital. I went to a different private hospital. And in this hospital, my friend's husband actually works there. And they have had a lot of testimonies about successful evacuation process. So I went there. That same day, I didn't even waste time because I wanted everything to be out. Let me get myself. Like, what is this? So I went to that hospital. Immediately, my friend called. My friend even followed me. Thanks to her, I went to the hospital. I and my husband went to the hospital. So immediately, they took me to the theater for the evacuation process. And guys, this hospital, they are very, very good. It's I don't want to name the name of the hospital here, whatever, but if you actually need to evacuate any child, God forbid, it's not actually a good thing. But if we know that a lot of us have medical conditions as well. So if there's any need for evacuation, I know a hospital I can refer you to. If you're in Port Harcourt, there's a hospital I'm going to refer you to. They are very good. You don't feel so much pain. It's painful though, but you don't feel so much pain because according to the way people actually describe evacuation, they say it's really painful. But you see, this particular hospital, this doctor, there was an injection the doctor gave me. I was alive, like I wasn't sleeping. That's what I'm trying to say. I wasn't sleeping, but the evacuation process was very easy. So I went into the theater, and the doctor, I actually liked the way they were communicating with me. Before they inject me anything, they'll tell me how that injection is actually going to react to my body so that when it starts reacting, I wouldn't get scared. Doctor was like, okay, I'm going to inject this to you. And at this moment, you're going to feel a little dizzy, but don't panic. Just to know that this is how the drug is going to react. And then at some point, you inject a different one. Say, this one is not good. You're not going to feel anyway. This is this and this is that. So they were actually explaining it to me while I was lying down there at the theater. I held the nurse's hand. The doctor was here injecting me. Then the gynecologist was actually doing the procedure. So he said, when you feel a little pain, just let us know. So when I feel a little pain, I'll just with my eye closed. I purposely closed my eyes. I could have still opened my eye. I'll be like, okay, doctor, this one hurts. It's all you tell me, okay, all right, all right. You know, I was communicating with them. I was able to flow. So that was the procedure was very successful, and I thank God for that. And after all said and done, within 30 minutes, we were already done with the procedure. And then I was still on my feet. I wasn't carried home. Like I was very strong that day. I was like, wow. So I went home with my husband. I was given some antibiotics, some flagyl to actually, help prevent infection of the womb, and it helps to heal the womb as well. So when I came back home, I still have a little crisis. I had a little crisis. I was taking the antibiotics, drinking every medicine. I think morning, night, the way it was prescribed. And then a fateful day, that was after 3 days of the evacuation, I started throwing up really bad. Nothing could enter my stomach. Even water. When I drink water, I throw up. I was like, oh God, what is going on? What is going on with me? I kept on throwing up that evening until I became very weak. I started throwing up around to 8. I became very weak that I couldn't even raise my hand. That was, if you listen to my husband, like in the next clip, now if you listen to my husband, you'll be like, I almost lost my wife. It was actually that period that my husband thought that he was going to lose me. So during that time, I was throwing up. I could not move my body. I could not. I could not even do anything. Nothing was in my stomach. I was very weak. I could not stand. I could not sit properly. I could not raise my hand. So it was time was around because I was waiting for morning, but it was around 2 a.m. My husband said no. Before I'll be waiting for 6 now or 5 and actually lose my wife, I better take her to hospital. So my husband was like, let's go to hospital this night. I managed to tell my husband, let's wait till 5. My husband said, no, we're not waiting. Let's go to the hospital now. My husband actually contacted my neighbor. Hey, my wife is ill. Oh. Please accompany me to the hospital. And as God may have it, the neighbor came to our rescue. My husband took me to the hospital at 2 a.m. midnight. I was carried to the hospital. I did not walk to the hospital. My husband carried me. Hey, carried me downstairs, put me in the car. We drove off, all those things. So as I reached there, I went back to that same hospital that they did the evacuation because I actually trusted the doctor. I was placed on drip. The doctor told me that what was wrong with me was enteritis. What is enteritis? Enteritis is inflammation of the intestine. We have gastroenteritis and then we have just enteritis. Gastroenteritis is inflammation of the stomach and the intestine. But then I had just enteritis, that's inflammation of the intestine. So that is a case where your stomach has wound. Like let me say your intestine has wound due to that the anti this thing they gave me. That's the medicine they gave me. What is it called? This is it. Ciprofloxacin. This medicine is actually very strong. And other medicine they gave me actually that I drank it with. So I think this is antibiotics. So it was too much for me that it injured my intestine. So that was why nothing could go down my stomach any longer. So I needed to be treated. So after taking the drip, I felt a little better. When I came back home, I started throwing up again. So when I called back the doctor was like, this is how you're going to be feeling for now. There's nothing we can do here, but you can manage it until your intestine heals. So what you have to do is to dwell on fruits for now. Don't dwell on heavy meals. You can start taking pawpaw and watermelon. You take it little by little. Once you take in little, and then you have a little strength, you sleep. And then he said, sleep as much as you can. Sleep as much as you can and then taking fruits little by little. That's the only way to cure enteritis. So I kept on drinking flagyl and eating fruit and sleeping. So that was how one day I slept a very long sleep, and then I when I woke up I felt better. I had my friend come over too. I had Elila came over, my friends. She actually prepared one very delicious pepper soup for me that day. Immediately I took in that pepper soup with oda. Oda is a very medicinal stuff. I felt so much better. I couldn't have felt any more better than the way I felt that day. I was so grateful. My dear, after the enteritis, that was the end of my medical. So, my people, after all said and done, I was fine. I was healthy. It was just a case of a missed abortion or blighted ovum where the baby is not growing well and I need to abort the child. That's all. So as God may have it, when I told people after all said and done, people advised me to wait, that I should wait for up to 6 months, before taking in to be sure that everywhere has healed. And then I contacted my gynecologist. The gynecologist told me that, girl, you're perfectly fine. What is actually wrong with you is just that you're just too scared. And this your case is not this is just a case of a missed abortion. Why? Because even those times I can remember that I was taking things that I wasn't supposed to take. I was drinking pepper soup with spices that are not okay. That, let's say, is not good when you're pregnant. You start taking scent leaf. Scent leaf is actually a natural antibiotics which would disturb the child. You get, there are a lot of things you should avoid. I didn't avoid so much food. I was taking everything I see. I was even drinking Pepsi that has a lot of caffeine, you get. So that was actually the problem, what actually disrupted the child. Had it been I realized it on time and then stop all those things and start taking drug or something like that, I believe everything would have been okay. And lo and so guys, trust in the Lord, have faith. And also, even if you have some medical challenges, there are ways to these things. Take your medicine and trust God. You get, there's nothing God cannot do. So what was your experience in all of this so far? Like, what was your experience during the
For
whole
me,
process?
I saw all those things as trying times, challenging times, because it's not going to be rosy for everybody. I know some people have passed through this stage as well, and they overcame it, and then um, they tried again, and it worked. So for me, at that point, I was just trying to make sure that my wife is okay. If the baby is going to be fine, then so be it. If the baby is not going to be fine, then so be it. Let my wife head first
My
come
husband
out.
was always advising, telling me, leave this pregnancy, let this pregnancy
Yes,
just go. I'll be
I
like,
told her so many
no,
times, leave
I can't
it.
leave my child. This baby must
Let this
survive.
one go. Let this one go. Let
He
this
was
one
saying,
go. Another one will come.
my husband was like, it might actually be the God's plan and all those things. My
Yeah,
husband was very, very
because
supportive and
you
encouraging.
never can tell what will happen. You give it to the child and then you start spending A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you run yourself dry just because of something you would have avoided earlier on. So the best thing is to, for me, I believe that if it's not for me, it's not for me. If it's for me, then it's for me. I remember the one time that I almost lost her one night like that. It's okay. I feel like God's hands is in us. So for me, I've never been worried. I've never been scared. I've never been like being so afraid of the future. All I know is that I'll keep doing my best, pushing and see what the future brings. If it works out well, fine. If it doesn't work out well, fine. But as it stands now, I think it's working out well.
So I'm so grateful to God for actually giving me a supportive husband because man, like what would I have done?
again,
Very, very
again, money spent.
right.
Let me talk that one.
It's true. My
It dry
husband
my pocket.
spent a whole lot on that one pregnancy that could not
It
still
dry my
stay.
pocket.
My husband
But don't
spent
worry,
so much.
God day.
Yeah, so guys, you'll be going now, right?
Yes.
Chana, thank you for watching the video. I'm going to put it at the end. Oh yeah, go
All
down.
right. Thank you
So thank
for
you guys for actually listening
yeah.
to us and watching this video. We are so much grateful. We are just saying it so that other couples out there or other couple out there would actually be encouraged to trust God
Sure.
because we are also very prayerful at that point.
Only God I get to.
Yes, trust God. Everything will actually be all right. So
All
thank you
right.
guys for watching this video and please hit the subscribe button, like, comment,
And subscribe.
and do all those good stuff they used to do on people's videos.
All right. Bye. See you then.
Bye guys. Bye.